friends, I'm so excited to go along on this adventure with you today. First, we're going to hear all about all the different ways you can use STEM in your career from our friends at National Grid. Then we'll get our hands dirty with Mr. Dan as he walks us through a STEM activity.
Hi boys and girls, my name is Matthew Litz, and I was born and raised right here in Buffalo, New York. I went to college a short distance away at the Rochester Institute of Technology. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree in telecommunications, and I use STEM every day for my career at National Grid. My career at National Grid is called Communications Tester, and we use telecommunications for our daily work. Telecommunications is a STEM career that uses computers and other technologies to allow people and devices to communicate on the internet. Think about at home when you're watching a video. How does that video get from the camera over the internet to your device? And that's what we do every day. Hey guys, this is Matt from Telecom. I just wanted to give you an update. Today I'm out in the field and my job is to troubleshoot all of these wires today. I got to figure out which one is not working. Each wire here is a different color, and that tells us where they go. This particular device is called a 66 block because it has 66 different positions for each wire to go on. Wish me luck. Growing up, I was always interested in computers and video games, but what I liked the most was using my critical thinking skills to help solve a problem. My first job after high school and college was installing internet services into customers' homes. At National Grid, we use science, technology, engineering, and math. One example of this is, think of if a tree falls on a utility pole and knocks down the power wire. We need to keep our workers and the public safe. Our offices can send a signal over the fiber optic line through an RF radio link to turn off the electricity, and this keeps our workers and the public safe. Today, we're out in the field at a remote radio location, going over the devices in our telecom network. We have 900 megahertz radios that are reporting alarms and communicating on the protection circuits that we just talked about. We also have a radio base station. All of our National Grid vehicles have two-way radios in them, much like a police officer or a firefighter would have. I'm excited I got to talk to you today about my STEM career at National Grid. It is something that I love doing every single day. As a young learner, each and every one of you, whether a boy or a girl, can strive for success with a STEM career using your critical thinking skills and problem-solving abilities. Here at the Explore More Museum, look around and let your imagination run wild about what you can fix with STEM. Thanks for having me, everybody. See you out in the field.
That was so exciting. Now we're going to hear from Mr. Dan, who has a super STEM activity for us to follow along with.
Hi friends, I'm Dan Walsh from Explore More, and every third Saturday we have a special event called STEM Saturday. It's sponsored by National Grid, and we bring out a ton of different science experiments and activities, and you get to play through them all. So for today, I'm in Building Buffalo, which is one of my favorite exhibits. Here, you can work with play saws, we have hammers, and you can build with PVC pipe, and you can do all sorts of fun things. So for now, I have a storybook. This is Charlie McButton Lost Power, and it's written by Suzanne Collins and Mike Lester. Charlie McButton had likes and like-nots. The things that he liked involved handsets and bots, computerized games where he battled bad creatures. The things he liked not didn't have blowout features. Then one day, a thunderstorm blew into town and brought his tech empire tumbling down. A lightning bolt struck an electrical tower, and Charlie McButton, his whole world lost power. He looked left, he looked right, and his heart filled with dread. The TV, the lights, and his clock were all dead. He jumped to his feet, his lungs gasping for air. The room spun around, and he clung to his chair. He tried to cry, "Help!" but he just managed to squeak. The blackout had blacked out his power to speak. Thank goodness his mother had ears like a bat. She came to his room, and she gave him a pat. "Oh, Charlie," she said, picking up his fears, The lights will come back when the bad weather clears. You'll have to find something without plugs to play. Read a book, clean your room, sing a song, model clay. Could anything be more duller than clay? Soggy gray clay on soggy gray days. He hated the way clay got under his nails and how he could only make snowmen and snails. He dove for a gadget he'd outgrown last spring. It was handheld, outdated, not much of a thing. But he clutched the old toy like a lifeline that day. See, it ran on one battery, the size AAA. He flicked the on and off switch to on double quick, but no happy humming sound followed the click. He unlatched a hatch and his blood turned to ice. The battery is gone from my backup device. Now dolls didn't take on their own as a rule. They needed a power source, some kind of fuel. In less than a second, he made a decision. Call it bad judgment, a real lack of vision. Somehow, his head didn't warn him of his folly, and Charlie McButton, he pounced on that dolly. He plucked out his prize through the baby doll's dress, and Isabel Jane made a sound of distress. It was just a short walk to the foot of the stair where reside the McButton time-out chair. To add to the fun of his term in the seat, Isabel Jane came to play at his feet. And Isabel Jane, the battery queen, had more AAAs than he had ever seen. They powered her puppies, they powered her clocks, they powered her talkative alphabet blocks. Assaulted by nonstop mechanical chatter, Charlie McButton got madder and madder. He snapped at his sis from his timeout time zone. How come you can't ever just leave me alone? Her eyes filled with tears, and she gave them a rub. She went to the bathroom and hid in the tub. Then Charlie McButton felt totally rotten and couldn't help but thinking of something that he had forgotten. Mainly, he thought that, for sisters that toddle, Isabel Jane was a pretty good model. She clearly adored him. She didn't have fleas. At dinner, she'd secretly eat his peas. And sometimes, although he most hotly denied it, he'd like to just sit there beside her in quiet. Wrapped in a blanket, watching TV, her head on his shoulder, her foot on his knee. He sat and he thought, and he stared at the rain. When his time out was done, he found Isabel Jane. From the edge of the bathtub, she gave him a peek. So he said, "Hey, are we playing hide and go seek?" She was happy at once and ran into the hall, as she loved playing hide and go seek most of all. They took turns being it and counting to 10. They hid in plants and the guinea pig pen. And when he found Isabel Jane in her quilt, they decided a big blanket fort should be built. Then the gloom made him think about dragons and spells. So Charlie became the great wizard McSmells. And Isabel Jane, who desired a role, magically changed to his faithful old troll. Between tracking down dragons and brewing up lizards and handling the day-to-day business of wizards, like forging his faithful old troll a new sword, Charlie McButton forgot to be bored. At supper time, they ate under real candlelight. The daytime had melted right into night. And after that, they'd been asleep for an hour. The world came alive with a big surge of power. Oh, it's finally back, Charlie thought with a grin. Tomorrow I'll wake up and I can plug in. But another thought hit him, and he couldn't explain it. I might also find dragons with Isabel Jane. Wasn't that a great story? Thanks for listening, my friends.
Well, friends, I don't know about you, but I sure learned a lot. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Keep learning and stay curious.